what's happening with ODM and what's going to happen with ODM next year, right? We have invited Beatrice Elachi, who is a member of parliament for Dagoretti North. She was elected into parliament through an ODM ticket. And so she's an ODM MP as it stands today. We don't know whether she'll be seeking re-election in an ODM ticket. She'll tell us. Mheshimiwa, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Good to have you here, and Happy New Year. It's Happy New Year until June. Okay?
Okay, we're pushing it, okay?
Happy New Month.
If we're meeting for the first time.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Month is good, Eric. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Happy New Month, Beatrice.
Yes, month of many things.
Happy New Year.
Yes, month of love. Meskia, the one that we call Najinini.
It's a beautiful month of love.
Yes.
Yeah, for people to continue loving one another like they did in January.
No, in January we don't love each other. January we fight for school fees.
Yes, I agree.
So we are now settling for love.
Now we are settling.
Yeah.
We are settling in.
Now it's licking the wounds. Haya. Pole.
Sikuwa na ubaya.
Ilikuwa
Stress ya year 10.
Stress.
Beatrice, Janet is going to welcome you with the day's quote. Words that were said somewhere some time ago, and then let's see if they make sense to you today.
All right. These words were said by Ngugi wa Thiong'o years ago. He said, the most dangerous thing for bad governments is informed citizens.
Yes.
You agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think our citizens are informed? Do you think citizens are also easily manipulated? Where do you think the citizens of Kenya lie today?
Our citizens are informed, but then find themselves in our own culture as Kenyans. You know, we always go back and become me. If I get it, I'm okay. If you don't have, then it's not my problem. So I think that's where the biggest challenge faces us as a country. Yeah. So you find that I can come up with an agenda, push it for 2 days. If I benefit, I'll just walk out of this agenda. I'll not think of what would have happened if I moved and make it better for the future. Yeah. So I think that's our biggest challenge.
It's a good place to start the conversation.
Yeah.
Did ODM abandon its agenda in getting into bed with UDA?
Well, now Baba is in the grave. I don't know how to ask him that question, because you realize we are about to finish 1 year since broad-based started in March, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
And so I don't know. I think the biggest challenge we should ask ourselves as a country is it that we only believed ODM can be the only opposition party for the years Baba was? Because I think that is where we are finding the challenge. That he took the mandate and became the face of this opposition. Because I'm asking myself, if Baba had won government, what would have happened? Because he was vying as a presidential candidate, and he only lost, I think, with only 200,000 votes. He was to be a president. What would have happened to Kenya? Does it mean that would have been the end? There would have not been any other opposition? So what we should be asking ourselves going forward, now that he's not there, is how do we continue facing government and ensuring that whatever government says, and especially for us, maybe in ODM, even as we talk about the cooperation between ODM and UDA, then our question should be, are we first taking what we agreed on the reforms? That we shall be able to monitor, ensure what we said, cost of living, all these things we talked about, without making them just a paper. But are we able to push?
Right.
And then the question again will come back to us that, you see, you can't push this agenda when you have your own intra-conflict. You can't. So you have to come back and clean ourselves for us to face the bigger agenda. Yeah.
Okay. You said what would have happened if Baba had won?
Yeah.
Essentially, Kenya Kwanza would be the opposition, right? And it's the Orange Democratic Movement.
Yeah.
One of the basic tenets of democracy is whoever wins forms government, whoever comes second, and so on, keeps the winners in check.
Yes.
So then question still stands. Has ODM then abandoned that basic tenet of democracy, which is that if you win, you form government. If you don't, you check government and you become opposition?
Well, then I go back again to the history of us. As Kenyans, do we appreciate to have oppositions, or we appreciate a hybrid government? Because every time they finish that election, I don't think it's the first time Baba did this.
No.
He did it in the Grand Coalition. He did it with Kibaki. He came and did it with Uhuru. So it has always been there. That's why I'm saying that does not take away that you can still, even as much as we've gone, because it's not even the person. You started with the question, the citizens. What does the citizen feel when they have finished an election? You realize they were voting to be somewhere in government. They have never voted to be just in the opposition. That is why they will end up, when their leaders take them there, have you ever seen them revolt? They don't. They move with them. So that is one thing. That's why we should go back to the citizens and ask ourselves a question. Because some of these things you might think, somebody's just doing it. No, it is the pressure that comes with it. And it's a very serious pressure, I can tell you, that people will, whether we are in or out, we should ask ourselves, since we appreciated to have a constitution that lingers like the American Constitution, where, yes, we don't have, we have parties that come in, but you see them, they are very clear. You have the Democrats and you have the Republicans. But the citizens also are clear. Have we reached there? No. Why? Because our institutions that are supposed to make us reach there, where you feel it does not matter who is in government. I know things will move. I know we will get this. But in terms of governance is where you'll feel the pinch of the Republican, how he walks around and does his crazy things, or the Democrats. But things in terms of the citizen, in terms of the welfare of the citizen will be the way he knew America is. Now come to Kenya, where we borrowed from the US. We still have a lot of challenges. We will still find parents telling you, we can't afford school, we can't do the basics, we can't even afford. So you find, even as much as I'll be in the opposition, I'll still fight for CDF. Why? See, it's government money. Yeah, I need it to come and do other things to ensure the citizens of Dagoretti North are able to get at least those services. So the challenge now in Africa or Kenya is that now government makes it as if it is, it's not a right for a citizen, but it is me now doing it for this citizen.
A favor.
Yeah.
A favor.
But
That's
then I think
word.
also it's still going back to Mariam's question. There's a sense where accountability weakens when you have essentially opposition teaming up with government. There's something you said yesterday. I just want to kuuliza serikali ile matunda hatujawahi kula miaka 30 tuone maendeleo ya miaka 30.
Yeah.
Okay. My thing is, even though you're saying citizens, it still sounds very much our piece of the pie first. We will negotiate and make sure we have 50. So we were saying it at the beginning of this show.
Yeah.
It sounds very, number one, weekend accountability, posturing ourselves to get our piece of the pie. Citizen doesn't seem like it comes secondary to that. It really sounds more, this is a politically motivated thing. We know it's an agreement. We know it's a deal. We know we want half of it. If we're going to go into this, at least we're going to get vice president. Then you think about...
I might not be of that. I might think differently.
Okay.
But let me ask you, Janet, do you know why people talk that way? I'll give you an example today. So I come from Western Province. Yeah? Yes, my mom comes from Central, my dad from Western. Schooled in Western. So we have teachers. I want to use teachers today. Teachers. For all the years that in Western Province we are still begging, yeah? I'll use the word begging, TSC, to employ more teachers from Western. to look at how many schools in Western are using BOM teachers. That is why every penny that goes in that school will go to a BOM teacher to be paid. 15, 20 in a school. While in Central, I'll give you, for example, Muranga, they only need 15 now. Why won't I stand and say that? Tell me why it was not fair to have equity all those years. Tell me why is it that a TSC teacher in Central, a school with a whole county maybe, is only looking for 15 teachers. The rest are TSC. What is wrong with the rest of the country? And why did it happen that way? Now look at the history of TSC. Tell me who have been there. So that's the challenge. That equity, if I'm given a position, why can't I just do equity for the whole country without looking at, I am this, I am from this tribe, so in my tribe, in my area, they must benefit. That is what we must come out of.
That's exactly what's happening right now.
Well, it will happen now because it happened in the history. Until the time you clean that, whoever Kenyan will be good enough to come and say, look, Kenya is one, we are one. After you have seen your teachers have come through, you just need to have equity and say, this year, can we just employ? If it is per constituency, then the way we do our recruits of police and the rest, then try and do it and say, every constituency, we will be able, how many teachers are we looking for? 20,000. Which are the key subjects that we want? This. In merit, where are if it would have been fair, you know, I would not be even thinking, why is it that Central has this or this? Because the teacher goes and teaches. But look at us, and I'll blame also us politicians. What did we do? We decided teachers should stay within our regions. They should stay within home. We forgot they are civil servants. They can work anywhere in the country, which they should.
You know,
and that's the challenge now.
But the thing is, you were in a position where essentially you could have pushed for this equity without being in government. So when ODM joins broad-based, it's fine. The people of Dagoretti North may get more TSC teachers, or whichever.
I was just giving an example.
Yes, I'm giving an example as well. Or whichever other goodie comes with being part of broad-based. But had you been in opposition with a majority in the assembly, you would have been able to push back, do the work of oversight, do the work of ensuring that indeed there's equitable distribution of resources, whether it's from a TSC perspective, whether it's, because again, CDF is also not a favor. It's money that is, is entitled to constituencies. If it's, again, money from national government going to counties, you're in a position to push for that, to push for a bigger revenue share. So that would have been the work of ensuring equity. It's playing your role as was intended. This other one is just saying it's our turn to eat. Oops, to every other Kenyan now who isn't part of this government, they will get TSC teachers when and if we decide. You know? Well, you become part of the problem.
You see, Mariam, we are not part of the problem. I have said we borrowed the constitution. We removed that thing, opposition. That is why those committees are run by members of parliament. It does not mean you're in opposition. If you're in opposition, how many reports have you seen of any committee in parliament that says the opposition now have come with this report? It's a parliament that was given powers very differently. That's why you sit, you can do the budgets, you can do everything. But then, and I think that is where we are still wobbling, just the way the counties are wobbling, to understand if it was the Commonwealth, the way we had our opposition position and this, then it would be different. But you can't tell me now, we've sat in a committee. We are agreeing, for example, on the shares of Safaricom, how they are being sold. We are all members of that committee. It does not matter whether you are in ODM, whether you're in UDA, whether you are in any other party. You sit as a committee of parliament and you deal with the matter. Now, if it was the days when we had the oppositions, the real opposition before this new constitution, some would have already stood and refused completely the sale of Safaricom. But because we are one committee, and the chair can be of either party sitting in that committee, they will agree. They will come up with their whatever. They will say, we agree on this, or we have consensus, this and this is working. And that, what am I saying? I think we went into the constitution. We would have just remained like Tanzania, Uganda, with the constitution we had, and see ourselves work better as an opposition, because in that you help members even to become opposition. Even the ones who are in government can now become opposition. Yeah.
So then,
You know,
let me, okay.
everything that you're saying, Mheshimiwa Elachi, is basically just pointing us to where the problem is. And you're saying, don't hate the player, hate the game. It's okay, but I'm going to hate the player as well. And the player here starts from the citizen. We have a complete deficiency of leadership in this country. It is what led us to have this inequality, because some leaders were focusing on developing areas that mattered to them for their next vote. So we ended up with this inequality. We ended up with, disparities in employment. We ended up in disparities in deployment of public servants. We got there, we told ourselves we are going to give ourselves a new constitution that changes this whole thing, so that a president does not have control of the purse. Parliament shall have control of the purse. Parliament shall not also be controlled by the executive. Parliament shall be an independent institution which has majority minority, but which votes as and thinks as parliament. Okay? So going by the example that you're saying, the whole idea was so that you don't come into government and you focus on developing your area, or you don't form government as a coalition of parties and think of just developing your area. But when you go into parliament, even those in the minority who are not controlling the executive will also have a strong say. Yes. And you should work together. Today, going by this argument, it says that tuingie kwa serikali, ndio, for example, sisi watu wa mkoa wa Magharibi, the former mkoa wa Magharibi, pia tupate walimu, so that we can get more TSC teachers, so we can get more police officers, so we can get more people in the military, so that we can get all this and the other. The people, and you have the numbers that can go and negotiate. The people of Lamu, of Tana River, who have even worse shortages of teachers than those in Western, will never have a chance. They don't stand any chance of the people, the Orma of Tana River, to have sufficient negotiation power so that they can get more TSC teachers employed and deployed to their schools in Tana River. So you are perpetuating the injustice with the excuse of, you see, this is how our country has been. This is how we have been. And that's what I'm saying. I am not hating the game. I'm hating the game plus the current player. It is wrong. You can't say that we want to come and have a coalition with government so that hebu soma hiyo quote alisema ile vitu ambazo tukupata miaka sijui tupate sasa.
Yes.
Nyinyi ni nani?
Sisi ni wa Kenya.
Mbona mko mnapata?
No, but you see, Eric.
Must we kiss President William Ruto's ring for the child in Tana River to be taught by a TSC teacher?
Now, can we give you a chance to answer that after the break?
Okay.
It's already time for the break. A very pertinent question. So let's pick up on it as soon as we come back. We're hosting Beatrice Elachi, MP Dagoretti North, inside the ODM-UDA cooperation deal. That's the conversation we're having. It's coming up to 7:30. We'll come back and pick up from Eric's question to the MP. Yep, Kabisa. Just before we get back into that question that Eric had raised, a bit of feedback online. Charles Ndungo, the begging happens because as members of parliament, you have absconded your duties for politics of the stomach. If you did your job as delegated by the constitution, there would be no need for begging. So that came up earlier when this conversation started. Still, Mike the One says, just say it's being corrupted, not about leadership. Who gets what and who doesn't? The politics will end one day. There's about 3 more. Kenya Home 254 says, good morning, fixers. Well said, Mariam. It's useless. It's as she explained, how there are no opposition and then there's no oversight. Quincy Matano is saying some of the matatus wake early, but wanaenda kuweka magari parking because of the fear. That's a message on the ground. And as you said, we'll continue to bring you that developing story of the ongoing strike. We know that it's affecting a lot of people. So just to understand what's happening on the ground. ODM has never begged the government to work with them. It's the government that looks for ODM. But now it's vice versa. ODM will never be the same because of greed in some quarters in the party. That's Moshama James.
So that's actually that's a great
Barnabas.
perspective.
Yeah, Barnabas saying the current opposition is the best in history, destined to liberate Kenyans from ODM-like conmanship. I have another one here from Ben who says, I'm a voter in Dagoretti North and I voted for Beatrice Elachi. She's an experienced legislator. However, she does not seem to have embraced the Constitution 2010. The president has no funds. Equitable development is the function of parliament. Oversight is not based on loyalty, but is responsibility of the house. That's what I was saying. It's just ile nyumba ile inakuanga pale Parliament Road. The problem of Kenya starts and ends.
Si tuimalize basi.
290 plus
Mulete
47
sasa
plus
venye Kenya
10
inaweza
plus
enda.
10.
Eric.
Yeah? It is people like you.
Muimalize.
You are an experienced legislator.
Well,
right?
yes.
You have been there, you've been in the Senate, you've been Speaker of the County Assembly of Nairobi, you've been there.
Yes.
But like Ben is saying, he voted for you, hoping that you take your experience to the House. He voted that you, hoping that you understand the Constitution and your role as a Member of Parliament, but he's sitting back hearing you and wondering, Lakini.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the reality.
Understand?
No, I'm saying what is there.
What is the reality?
You know, Eric, I can never come here to pretend. Hiyo ushajua miaka yangu yote. I don't know how to come and fake things. I say as it is. You get it what you want, you get it that way.
So what compromised you?
So,
is it the system?
Well,
or
I
is
have
it
not
you?
been compromised. Ukienda Dagoretti North, I have done my work as a legislator. Ya Dagoretti North. Ya kura kwenye nilitoa.
Just the part, representing the people of Dagoretti North?
Yes.
You have done that.
You go there.
Ben Omolo does not think.
Well,
so.
Ben wants me to do the constitution of Kenya and ODM. That is a bit different because nilichaguliwa pia Dagoretti North, nifanye kazi ya Dagoretti North. But, and I went there with the interest of Dagoretti North. You see, that is another thing. Ndio maana mtu wa mifugo akisimama, see, he fights for his mifugo. Do you hear? Have you ever heard Northeastern fighting for anything of this other side? They fight for their things. They fight when they know hatuna maji, hatuna here. You will never hear them. The same way, I will fight for the interest. That's what took me in Parliament. Interest of the people of Dagoretti North.
Wait,
Will
let's
you
go back to
represent
your
them?
question. Yeah.
Will you, or about oversight? But hold
No,
the thought.
oversight, what is right for Dagoretti North?
No.
Yep.
You completely misunderstand
No.
this
Back to
petition.
your question,
No.
because I'm also
No.
threading with you, Mariam.
As a member of
No.
as a member of the National Assembly,
Yes.
you represent
Yes.
the people of Dagoretti North.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In terms of just championing their rights,
Yes.
which in very many cases are similar to those of the people of Mbalambala constituency.
They have a member of parliament of Mbalambala.
True.
Good.
As Kenyans, when you are dividing resources, you divide resources and make sure, first of all, you champion that schools in Dagoretti North will get, that you will have security in Dagoretti North.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you have a responsibility. When you're doing that oath and conscientiously, there is no way it says, I shall conscientiously make sure that I only represent the people of Dagoretti North.
No, no.
It is to uphold the Constitution and the interests of the Republic of Kenya.
Eric.
Okay? So, the question, when you are oversighting and
Yes.
legislating,
Yes.
you do not create a law for the people of Dagoretti North. One of them is here, by the way. This is a resident of Dagoretti North,
Yes.
Mariam.
Yes.
Okay? She will tell you, she may not be sure that you are, in all cases, representing her interests if she does not know that you're representing her interests. But as a member of the National Assembly, as Parliament, as an institution as a whole, and you are there and you are in a caucus of members of Parliament elected via ODM.
Yes.
When ODM now goes to kiss the ring and you say the things that you promised us, the things that we have been denied over the
And I
last
have
15
not
years.
seen the ring we kissed.
We shall,
I need to see the ring on this hand of President William that ODM kissed.
we are looking for it as well. We are
Even me,
hungry.
I'm trying to look at it.
but you know what I mean.
No, I don't know. I know you are saying we kissed a ring. I'm wondering which ring is this that we kissed on a man? I don't know.
Ebu open that, we shall read the quote. We shall
Hiyo
clearly
miaka-
show us where the ring is.
miaka 30
Oh,
and-
tusome
and-
tena.
Yes, yes,
Hiyo quote hiyo.
yes.
Hiyo ya ile ya
quote.
ile ya Beatrice
Beatrice
alisema
Elachi.
jana.
Yes, yes,
Na
yes.
ilikuwa jana ulisema were you in Dandora? You were in
Uh-huh.
church in Dandora.
Yes.
All right. You said
Which is not in her constitution.
kuuliza
No,
serikali
iko
ile
Nairobi.
matunda hatujawahi kula miaka 30.
Oh, that's the ring now, the matunda.
tuone maendeleo ya miaka 30.
Oh, sawa. I didn't know matunda ni ring. Sasa nimeshika rada. Sawa. Nimeshika rada.
Umeshika rada?
Sikujua matunda ni ring.
So answer the question.
Ring aje.
Must
Ring
you
inaweza kuwa hata ya shrine wewe.
must you beg for development to come to Dagoretti North, to Dandora, to Mumias East, to Balambala, to any part of this country?
Well, since we started independence, what have all of us done? If we were not begging, so we would have had equity in Kenya. Would we even care who is seated in the institution called presidency?
No.
Yeah. But because since Kuanzia Kenya, 63, Eric, that has been the bad politics.
Yes.
We thought in this new constitution we'll change that.
Yes.
But now we've ended up again. Look at the counties. You'll find we push, we do everything, but we will just end up in this presidency again, which was one thing we thought. We've removed power, we've taken it into the counties. Counties can now come up, can now do this. But how did we? We went a ring and we just...
So what happened?
Exactly.
What's the issue? From where you sit, Beatrice, as a legislator,
Yes.
in the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya, not in the County Assembly of Nairobi, representing Dagoretti, or any ward, as a
Yes.
member of Parliament,
Yes.
what went wrong?
I think what went
It's clear
wrong...
in our constitution, our desire
Yeah.
is to separate
Separate.
the presidency
Yes.
from resources,
Yes.
from development.
Yes.
That the president shall be allocated for resources by parliament.
True.
That shall ensure equitable distribution of resources.
Yeah.
And parliament shall oversight to ensure equitable implementation of government programs. What went wrong?
What went wrong is that when we finished the constitution in Naivasha, and we agreed this is how we will run everything. In 2013, when we came in to unpack the schedules, we unpacked the schedules. You remember we retained most of the policies at the national government, which was okay. But then, in unpacking the schedules, the resources. You remember the governors became also, they didn't want to follow the constitution. They decided, we want everything that is in the schedule to now go to the county. They forgot one county was stronger than the other. One county had institutions than the other because maybe you were the provincial headquarter at that time, and now another county has gone, had nothing, had no office, they need to start. But you unbangled, and we took because of how they forced. And at that time, the executive knew we will give you what you want, but it will come to haunt you because you don't have enough resources to run everything that you have just taken. And from that time, the counties now went into the challenge of every money you get is good. It has to pay people. It has to do human resource salaries, all this. So you remain with nothing to do any development. What will happen? The national government will use Article 189, 187 to come and say, fine, we can now partner and do this. We can now partner and do for you this. Because that resource you don't have. But we have remained with policy, and we have more resources just on policy than what has come for implementation. Now, until the governors will want to sit down, and I thought within the 15 years of now having counties, we needed to have sat down and agree also. Because you have seen how each county is now performing. If the national government is not there, is this county able to even survive for 3 months? So, and audit and be honest to ourselves without feeling, why are you removing this to us? Why are you doing? And just go back and tell ourselves, on the drawing board, your county is behaving one. It has a behavioral of you only have monies for salaries. You have no money for development. You have no money for your health institutions. You have no this. But then now we have moved. And the counties have become also very vital that if you touch any, you'll find the whole tribe going up in arms.
So that's what happened in the county. What happened in the national government?
At the national government, we refused to accept that we are now in a new dispensation. Treasury completely refused to accept that you don't need to do budgets, you need to bring it to Parliament, for Parliament, and itemize. One of the things we have completely ignored, completely up to now, is how do you itemize Kenyan budget so that you know if I'm talking to education, for example, do we have every child with a number that we can say we have 10 million children in our schools, and so with 10 million, our ratio is this? We have completely refused, because we know we will get the data right. You'll get now where monies have been going wrong or being stolen. We will understand even the whole education system, whether it's true we have 5 million children, 10, or even just 3 million children.
So the executive
and
has
most
refused.
of them maybe are just at home.
The executive has refused to
Absolutely.
come to terms.
Completely.
And Parliament?
With Parliament now, we go back and we do the same wrong. I'm not saying I'm tearing Parliament. No, I've said we want to ask ourselves, how do we get solutions? Because I think that is one thing also. We all of us run away, all of us as a country, that how can we get the right solution to every sector that we have? So Parliament also, we have refused to enforce, because if Parliament, we decide to put a law that says we will have to have every child known in this country. From the time you're being given, your child is 1 day old, we get to know you have your birth certificate, you are born in this hospital or even at home, but then the chiefs or whoever will give you that there were 2 children who were born at home, and these are the children.
So let me thread it to Mariam's initial question.
Yes.
ODM has been the second largest party in that parliament since 2013,
Yes.
into 2017,
Yes.
into 2022.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Has ODM seen it right to follow the constitution, to push and champion for the constitution, so that its members in parliament will stand by the constitution?
Now, ODM as a party has pushed, has reached a point, find itself in crisis, even before Baba was there, not because Baba died. And then understanding every time your new environment is also a very big challenge. I'll say that. Because when you look, for all that time, ODM has to come in and get into, let's say, handshake. Let's say what? In the middle of all the things, you find yourself in a new dispensation. You must learn within that new dispensation to move. And so I will agree. You might call us, oh, we have lost since ODM is the one who is supposed to do this. Fine. But I think all of us as members of parliament have that responsibility. It was not just for ODM. Has that responsibility to know whether this is right for the country or this is not right.
True, it's not just ODM, but whenever we host anyone from whatever political party, we do ask them those questions. I'll just take a slight tangent into the deal that should be coming out when?
Was it March or May?
March or May. What the full cooperation agreement between ODM and UDA. What's happening behind the scenes? What are you hoping to get out of this deal? What are you negotiating with?
I think even before we talk about the negotiations or everything, I think there was something that already they had signed at KICC.
Yeah.
So for me, the most important thing is you look at that first, even before you think of how you want to get into the main one. But this that we signed at KICC, by March, I think we'll be finishing 1 year. It's important just to do evaluate and see whether it has worked, what has not worked, what is working, and just put it properly and tell ourselves, this worked, this has not. How are we going to get the right timelines for this one to work? And how are we measuring those outcomes? Because some of them are very continuous. It will be very interesting on how to say you want to monitor them, because it's very continuous. It has to proceed and move. So are those some of the issues that you're going to carry into this corporation? It should be a question the leadership should be asking themselves.
True.
So for me, the most important thing, the first 10 points you signed on must be your template of saying you want to start from here and first evaluate, have you done anything good, or we've been carried away again with too many politics that nothing is moving. Yeah.
And if you find that of this 10-point agenda, we've achieved 4 or 5, then what happened? Or we are in the process of achieving 4 or 5, we've not actualized the rest. What then?
I think the most important is to see how you actualize for your own dignity and for your own to preserve your own niche. You must try. We must try our best to achieve this 10-point agenda. You see, the coalition in terms of how you go for elections and that is very different from this. So the cooperation should not just take you in terms of how you are going for 2027. Your cooperation, as I said, and maybe I used the most best language mwananchi anaweza which was not the right one of saying kwetu hatukupata hii na hii, is what? But you know very well it will benefit the whole country. It was for the whole country. It was not just for ODM regions. No. It was an and then we have NADCO, we have this. Can we look at all those things and put them on the table properly and ask ourselves how you move?
Yeah.
As a legislator, are you satisfied with the progress of NADCO and the 10-point agenda? Personally, as Beatrice?
No, I am not. Because we agreed even, just the simplest of NADCO was you ensure this thing of women is over and over, which has never even moved, never started, never even been in all their talk.
The 2/3 gender.
Yes, nobody talks about it. It is just they are quiet. We have come in, we have done another legislation, me, Cholet, 4 of us. Nobody is even talking where it is. The clerk will never tell you where it is. So it's very unfortunate. So even in the NADCO, not just the 2/3, there were other issues that we needed to. Let us not just deal with the political. Because I know the challenge we always face is that women will be looking at the issues, men will be looking at the political ones. So then, and you find they are more aggressive because they moved with the implementation of electoral reforms, they've moved with this. Next, you'll find them moving now with these things of opposition leader, I don't know what. We are saying no.
Yeah.
Look at the main issues that always, and these are issues. When you look at our history from 2007, we always just leave behind every issue that was meant for a citizen is always left behind. And so for this one, if we want to stand as ODM, let us carry what is for the citizen. This other thing will organize itself because you'll find many other men from other quarters will come to sit on the table and fight for it because they want it. But let us try as ODM to focus on what was meant for the citizen.
And do you still feel like even though some things have not come out of NADCO, then where's the confidence that any commitments will follow through with this new deal?
Well,
because you could still face the same setbacks and disappointments.
Oh yes, setbacks and disappointments will be there. I mean, in every political move, you see, that's what I was saying. When you look at our country, I think we believe so much in this hybrid thing. Today there are enemies. Tomorrow, I've come to learn there's no enemies in Kenya in politics. We just do the drama, and then one day you'll find everyone on the table again. Yeah, and the most interesting thing here, Janet, is that people are just talking for 2027. No, the deeper is who will be on the table in 2032. That's the deeper, but nobody wants to put it here. But while they slash, everyone wants to come back because they knew that is the second new dawn for Kenya. That's the new dispensation of starting again, like 1963. All the Kanu Mandarans, what, everyone will be leaving now. And we have new people. So every community that has always been within this space is fighting quietly to make sure in 2032 they are back on the table to start. So the question will be, do you start the way you started the other one, or do you want to start better? And do people understand that, or what? So it's not about 2027. No. No.
It's beyond that.
It is beyond.
How we abandon, like when we come up with these agendas, if it's 10 points, right, there'll be those that are people-centered, those that are politics-centered. And usually when the negotiations come, it's the ones that are people-centered that end up being abandoned. And then now I'm thinking out loud, again, it's just us versus our legislators. There's no other way to hold you to account, because essentially members of parliament, senators, governors, elected officials will use their voting blocks as as a negotiating chip, and then abandon them as soon as they get what they want. I'm thinking through now because I'm just thinking out loud. Like I literally have no question.
No, I see what you mean.
But I don't think it's that, Mariam. I know you'll feel it that way. But as I said, isn't it us, all of us? Because in the end, you own that legislator and the people. You see, when I listen to us, sometimes I ask myself, I wish you can have time one day to just walk. And don't walk on a street. No. In Nairobi, I want you to walk in a few houses. Yeah? You come to Kawangware quietly, and you just walk in, and you listen to this person. Then you ask yourself after that, how do we go back and fix this? Because this Mwananchi who is here, there's a few things that you might be your priority. There are a few things that's her priority or his priority. And that's it. And the mindset is there. And even if you try, I will tell you, you will say maybe Mama Dago, you have done 0. But you go to the constituency. I thought the first thing, because that is what I went through when I lived in Kangemi, is education was key. That's all my mother believed in. That's all my mother gave me. Now, in my thinking, I'm thinking the same. That you see, if I can see our children in Dagoretti North in school, and that they are able to move, go to high school and go to campus, and come, for example, on a day of bursary, and you show the parents there that, look, these are your children. This one is doing law, this one is doing medicine, this one is doing engineering. That it will entice that parent to know, regardless of anything, my child has to go to school. But then now you'll find, I will still fight. I will still go in that ground, look, find children. Why are they not going to school? You're given some story there, you're wondering. And if you try and give a solution, 2 days later, they're out of that solution.
Okay.
And it is not just one.
Yeah.
It is the biggest challenge in Nairobi. Even if you want to support our young people, I will tell you how many times I will tell them, you have to go back to school. You must do this paper. We've even put a Gumbaro class there. I'll tell you, you go right now, you'll find it is mothers. Not the young people who dropped out of school. Mothers who have given birth to this one are the ones now doing it.
But do they own those solutions?
No.
They own them in the sense of, could it be that rejecting solutions is because maybe their priorities were different? Community-led, held, they're the ones who own it, as opposed to it's a politically motivated solution.
You see, Janet, nobody will force you to go back to school. Is there anyone? You can only put in that if you're willing to go back, I am willing to do this. School, I can't force you because I don't know why you dropped out in the first place. But those who dropped out knowing it was because of school fees, maybe because my parent passed on, those ones go back. Those ones, they'll even come quietly and they'll tell you. But there are those who I can tell you, you can't force. In education, you can't. You just put a solution. Those who want will come. But I'm just trying to say, give yourself now, in the next 15 years. You know now they'll be in their 40s. Now look at that parent.
I have to take a break.
Yeah, right.
You have some feedback?
No, just the question on this legislation around the 2/3 gender rule.
Yes.
I want to get into it just right after this break because I think it's pertinent, but also because discussing women and leadership is part of our conversation today. Hashtag is Fixing the Nation NTV. We'll be right back with Honorable Beatrice Elachi, MP for Dagoretti North.
We're back in conversation with Beatrice Elachi, who is the Member of Parliament for Dagoretti North constituency, ODM. We have been talking about ODM in Parliament, the expectations of leadership, and now also as we go into the ODM-UDA negotiations for a pre-election pact ahead of 2027. What are the conditions therein? One of the things that you had said, Mheshimiwa, was that you are also unhappy with the things that should have been done now and haven't been done. But as we come back to the conversation, there's a bit of feedback on both Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, a lot of it on YouTube. But I think some of it, I don't know whether it was addressed, but Charles Ndungo went on to say the problem that we face, MPs like Elachi, it seems simplistic in terms of their thinking. She was elected in Dagoretti, but paid by taxpayers' money collected from the whole country. Lenny Steve. But seriously, tumalize sasa namlete ile mnataka. Why is she saying that? This is what we're talking about. You can't fight for your interest without being a sycophant. The House of Parliament has failed. We were indicted by Gen Z in 2024, and I sometimes wonder how they show faces without shame. Okay, so problem with interviewing a cynic. This is what Hansads is saying, that there's no solutions. Still, Mike the One says, 10-point agenda is another con game. Hakuna kitu hapo. A few more, just before we look at Facebook and get back to the conversation. Basically, ODM is choosing the wide and crooked path, meaning kissing Ruto's ring, over the narrow and righteous path, which is constitutionalism. That's according to Robert Ndegwa. And finally, Iman Soti says, is 50% plus one a win for the economy? We're going into yet another election with historical injustices, not diminishing. Multi-party democracy unfortunately assumes all are represented. So does ODM and UDA. Yeah, the thing about going forward with unresolved issues is I think how you get an avalanche of unresolved issues. TJRC report everything, trying to address historical injustices. It's like, let's just prepare for the next election. And I think at some point there'll be a breaking point because it's almost like band-aid for 650 plus years. Yeah. Eventually, people will say, you didn't address those injustices, which generations later has cost me. I've been displaced because my grandfather was displaced by Kenyatta. So it's a fair point about historical injustices.
Starts as a snowball, then it's like a big ball, then avalanche.
Yeah. A big issue. Mariam, you talked about, you wanted to understand what Mheshimiwa Elachi
and Gladys
Boss and others have been working on. Because there's conversation about striking a formula for women representation in Parliament to meet the two-thirds gender requirement has just been stalling over the years. What's the latest stalling?
Will I say it's stalling? Well, so the latest is, for us, I know what has been the biggest question is the wage bill. So within that formula, we felt, why can't we just agree that when you look at, for example, we have 28 of us now elected. And so if we would have gotten the formula right now, we would have said, you take the 28 plus the 47.
47 women reps?
Yes. And you just use the 290 to be your one-third. You use the constituencies. Meaning you will only bring in maybe 23 or 24 women. So it does not raise an issue of two-thirds. But then you must make sure that even going forward in that election, you retain or increase. The more you increase, the more you reduce the numbers that you bring in.
That you nominate extras.
Yes. But then also, how do you push the political parties, the registrar, and also IBC to ensure when you're bringing in...
Before we get to the IBC and the registrar, I'm trying to understand the wage bill component. So the idea, where people were pushing back is because they wanted to increase elective positions, or how does the wage wage bill increase?
They felt that if you use the whole number of parliament, 300 plus, then you'll have too many. The numbers grow to roughly 100 or so. So how do you work around So you take the 2/3 to the 290 constituencies instead of the number of, instead of we have 47, we have all this. Yes.
Sorry, maybe I'm a bit slow this
It's
morning.
like, remember when you hosted Karoli Omondi and he was advancing the same argument?
Yeah.
Take 290
Yeah.
as the size of
The
parliament.
size of parliament, yes.
Not 290 plus 47 plus 10, which comes to 345.
Yeah.
Because if you look at 345, then you say, do we have at least a third of these members as women? Then let's bridge the gap. We'll have a huge number to nominate.
Yes.
So if we start with 290,
Okay, so I've understood. So my question
Plus
was
47.
how the
Yeah.
wage bill is. I understood that part.
Is the
My
nomination.
question was what does having a third mean for the wage bill? How does that make the wage bill rise? So now I'm realizing that nomination is the answer.
Yeah.
And that's how the wage bill balloons. Thank you. Okay.
You increase the size.
I don't think I was the only one floating.
No, it's true, because that has always been there.
Yeah.
So what has your proposed solution been? That
The
we
290.
take 290
Yes.
and look at a third of 290.
Of 290.
All right?
Yes.
And that does not include 47.
No.
Woman reps.
So the 290, the 47 counts in as if already you've gotten the women.
Already you have 47 in the 290.
So when you're doing that 290, you will look at the 47, look at how many women you have elected, and now put together to get your one third.
And what's the reaction to that? What's the response that you're getting?
No, that would be the best solution. It depends. You know, it's a matter of the interests of men and this and all that. But then that's the best for the country and even for Parliament to move forward the right way. Yes.
Now, the angle that you raised of ensuring political parties adhere to this.
Yes.
Where is the challenge there? I mean,
No, you'll always find what political parties will do is that, so if you know very well a party is strong, for example, in Central, you will want to now give a list to the political party, to IBC, women from Coast, but knowing very well that party will not...
a little chance of election.
They stand. But we are saying where a party is strong is where you must show the interest of having more women who are coming, they've gone through nomination and they're coming in to vie. Because if you support them, they will win. Yeah.
I'm wondering if there is no long-term solution, because I see the nomination headache, not just from a wage bill perspective, but also just from a sustainability. I don't know, the letter versus the spirit, right? I think the spirit of the Constitution having this, 2/3 gender requirements was that women get into elective politics.
Yes.
So then this is a workaround, but I don't think it addresses the core issue.
And that's why I'm saying you want to address the core issue, it is political parties where they are strong to ensure you make sure those women win their nominations, and then when they vie, they will win. Then you have nothing to say about nominations. Yes.
Is that part
And
of
also the electorate.
Is that part of your legislation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. To enforce.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but also if the electorate would feel, you see, like in Nakuru, if we go per county, Nakuru has 1/3, even beyond. Homa Bay has 1/3, even beyond. So there are those counties who already were able to do that. How do we now make sure other counties do the same?
And even beyond that, how do you make the environment conducive for it?
For it.
Yeah, I know in the next hour we are actually kind of paying some attention to women, young women, but women generally in politics. At the beginning of this show today, we were just talking about how when you look at the violence that was meted out, for example, and what the former deputy president went through, it's an example of the kind of violence that exists in politics. Now imagine women in that mix. So beyond what it is that you're pushing for, what reforms need to happen to just make the environment easier, safer for women to participate in politics? Because you could have that legislation, somebody comes in, but they're facing a lot of violence, a lot of insecurity. They'll probably pull back. How have you navigated this politics of Kenya, number one, as Beatrice Elachi? And number two, how do we create reforms that just make the environment conducive for women?
To be honest, it is... it's a level of where I'll say the violence will be there for women there are different violences. You will find yourself in physical, emotional. So whether the law is there or not, one thing we must maybe create is that civic education for people to understand. When we are competing, we are not competing on personal issues. We are competing on the issues that you bring on the table, on the issues that someone will come compete with me and say, she came in, she did not do this, she said this, she did not do this. You tick my box, what I said is there, and what we have done, what we have not done. The other one will come this. But then when we come as women, always remember, marriage will be in, issues of your personal life will be in, issues of your tribe will be in. So if you're married in that area and you want to buy, just know you'll have to go through a lot of challenges, because they will now say you are a woman just married here, why is she coming in this? So all those challenges are there. But then if also IEBC can be strict for once, that when you see violence, what do you do to this political party? Yeah, because if the watchman is clear that if you go through this and this is what we are going to do, and do it, then everyone will come back to their senses and just do the right thing. Because that's the other challenge we always face, that we have the laws, we have given in everything that can handle the process, but then there's fear from now the institutions that are handling, they look at it, so they have to just be firm. Yeah, be firm, and if you feel it is you might find yourself in conflict, use an external way of doing it, but just put political parties onto check. And especially, you see, when we go into nominations and there's a lot of violence, just know we shall move with the violence. But if we do nominations and ensure there was no violence, that election will move the right way. So within the nominations, and you have realized political parties have denied IEBC so much access in this nomination process, because they know. But the IEBC should be clear to say, as much as you are going to our nominations, we will not allow to see this and this. And you can cancel. Even if they will be bringing those nominations to you, you can feel this was not done right, you cancel and tell them, no, you'll have to repeat your own nominations to clean yourselves. You do that to political parties, they will find themselves just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also you don't need to embrace so much vigorous that brings a lot of hatred. Because there are some political, you can also do, Baba used to do so many ways of doing it. You'll realize, he will say, this, I can feel this region. I have gone, he will send Infotrak, he'll send many opinion polls there. The opinion polls will come and tell him. And it will just go the same way you'll think it will be the right way. Right. So some places where you feel people can really hurt each other and get into all this violence. And this time there will be a lot of, if we are not careful as political parties, there are going to be a lot of violence in this election in terms of nominations. But then we can avoid. The electorate also should remember, if you feel you want candidate X, it does not matter the political party. Don't take them into unless you're saying this should be the party. But if it is free and fair, some members can avoid and just go and find themselves to the main election. That way you've avoided a lot of first of all, spending too much resources on it, and also finding yourself in violence and a lot of conflict for nothing. Because young people go with that same zeal. You made us lose this way, now we have moved independent, now we are fighting again because of the same thing. Yeah.
There's something, sorry, just to get back on Parliament and the two-thirds gender, because the violence issue, I think, we have to deal from so many quarters, and there's still a lot of work to be done. But I wanted to know how to make this two-thirds gender issue mainstream and urgent for Parliament. And I say that because this is me guessing, but legislation usually passes either if it has big backers, and they rally, lobby, whatever, even if it's a partisan issue. But then sometimes there's non-partisan bills that come and they pass because someone can whip up support, or they just stall again because no one is really for or against work or two. So how do we make this issue mainstream and urgent and give it non-partisan support across the board?
Yeah. So what we did, when you bring in the bill, it comes from the AG's office, and so it becomes, first of all, it's across board. It has to be supported across board. And you remember, it's a constitutional bill, so you need 2/3 to pass it. So it is for us to just sit and have very serious discussions with our male counterparts that this should be the last of this house. If there's anything else, let us now clear this from the many years since, imagine the time of Beth Mugo and all the others who have passed on, who fought for this. And I think that should be the clarion call. It has to have good political goodwill from the president and everyone. And so he promised it. So I am hoping that's the political goodwill he has. Baba was for it always. So for us, we just have to sit and agree as a house that can we finalize just one thing and close the chapter.
You're back on the 10th, I hope so.
Yeah, I have this feeling that as you're talking about, yes, bipartisan, broad-based support of this, it goes even to the citizens.
Yeah.
I feel that the citizens are not fully bought and behind this idea of a 2/3 gender issue, right? So they look at it from various ways. They remove themselves from the point of the responsibility to groom, develop, and elect women leaders or young leaders or male leaders. They remove themselves and then they say, come up with a solution that will cover for the mistakes, the things that we avoided. Because the whole idea here is that we elect people based on their ability and capability. Those people are men and women. 50% with the slight majority being women in the Republic, and 50%, well, 49.9% being men in terms of population. Now, where it's not a conversation on the ground, it's not a mainstream conversation on the ground, it shall never be a mainstream conversation in Parliament.
Fair.
Because it's a political issue. It will not become a mainstream conversation in Parliament.
But
how do we make it a mainstream conversation in Parliament?
How many things that have never been conversations on ground have found their way to Parliament and passed incredibly quickly because of political goodwill?
Those things don't need to come back and have a voter doing something. Like Beatrice was explaining to us, many times the politician will listen to the ground and what the ground is saying and doing. If the ground is pushing for this conversation, it will happen. If the ground is not pushing, and you cannot see whatever the benefit or demerit of it, it's not going to have an issue. It will not gain that momentum. So it was there. It gained momentum. Finance bill.
It's a yearly thing, and I get that. I'm just saying you can see what happens when there's political will, top all the way, and how quickly votes can be whipped up, Parliament can be whipped up, how quickly something can sail through the National Assembly. It's possible, even without the ground caring.
And the point here is, if the ground does not care, these guys can legislate. We'll end up nominating 1,000 people into that Parliament.
No.
Because the ground will always look at this thing in a different way. We have to find a way in which we balance between Parliament and we, the citizens, accepting that we are the ones who gave ourselves this constitution and we gave ourselves this principle that in all elective and appointive positions, we shall not have more than 2/3 being of the same gender.
And as long as norms
we don't accept that, because the others we push, we tell Ruto, how is your cabinet?
Yeah.
We ask commissions, how is this commission?
Yeah.
And then it comes to electing. Look at how we elect MCAs. Because the constitution said you shall nominate to bridge the gap.
I know.
We end up nominating so many MCAs to bridge that gap.
Yeah.
Why? Because we did not promote and vote for women.
Yeah.
We will not promote and vote for women into the National Assembly, whether there's a law or not. We will end up with bridging that gap by nominating and then complaining about these nominees and then saying, look how useless they are.
Yeah.
They were
They're
nominated. They're
Just
flowers.
before Honorable Elachi
Excuse.
responds, because I know we're on time, I think I agree with Eric, just in the sense that, and then it's various things. It goes back to, I know it's a word people hate. People like to push back on words like patriarchy and norms. But at the end of the day, how do we view women and their ability to lead at large, broad positions?
Right.
If everyday reality, that's not something that's a norm, it will translate. So I don't know that leaders have done enough to make it top of mind that we can all lead.
Right.
So why don't we participate in electing when men and women to lead? I
Okay.
don't know that I've seen that, but yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think if it is with citizens, those who have seen women members of parliament, they will tell you, within that county, you will know. You will see because women will always have to work. You must work to prove. Yeah, the male is working. Whether he works or doesn't work, it's a very different game ball. But for you as a woman, you must prove that indeed there was a purpose of why you were elected. So those are the two different things. But then I would say when you look at also the women governors who are there and go to their counties and now move to other counties, then there's also another difference you see. But then maybe this thing of our own growing up and culture is still embedded so quietly that people don't talk about it. They will say, now we support women, we support our girls, but they'll support our girls when they want to become doctors, when you want to become lawyers. But in this governance structure, there's still a lot of questions. And you'll find, even the way you will find people answering you as a woman in that space, you will hear so many different ways of people believing that you still don't have that capacity of doing. So somebody will tell you, oh, you need to have done this, but you've done the right thing. So it's there. In terms of creating that awareness, I think we had gone very well. There was a time we really pushed. I think we now went back when we thought NADCO has carried the purpose and all that. And we thought now we will move the way these other bills have moved. But we've realized all the other bills are moving. Even the chairman of JLAC is, when he speaks, he doesn't talk about this, he talks about these other ones that are moving. We realize, okay, we are about to just lose again one conversation that was in NADCO that went through a different process than even the others. So you can see how it's tough. But then in terms of also now people believing, I think the issue, that issue of wage bill is what we just need to explain to them. That if you elect more women, you don't even need to nominate. You will not even need to. Because and the citizens now, I find many young people now relate to their mothers. I am hoping then the young generation will think differently than the older the way it was.
We can only hope. There's no indication
honestly,
that they're thinking differently. So we can only hope.
We'll debate that for the next half hour, the three of us. But we've been hosting Beatrice Elachi, who is the MP for Dagoretti North, talking about ODM, UDA, and also just talking about women in politics, which we'll be speaking to Bina Maseno at the top of the hour, young women versus Kenya's political system. We're taking a short break. Talk to us about the situation on the ground right now. We know that there is a strike that's going on, that's affecting and stalling movement for a lot of you, for a lot of us. So please send us your feedback on what's happening on the roads. We'll come back and also sample some of what you've been saying. We'll play some sound bites and continue our conversation here on Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time. It's coming up to 8:30.